We are all nerds on some level. And this time of year, I am an exceptionally big nerd. Not just on projects and builds, but on the spirit of Halloween. I build, I decorate, I dress up, and with my family, I binge watch all sorts of spooky films nostalgic to my youth. And this year, I invite you to share that spirit with me. Welcome, Nerd Herd. I'm Jessica, your friendly neighborhood Halloween nerd, and this is 13 nerdy nights of Halloween. All month, we're going to be conjuring up the spirit of Halloween with a series of eerie DIYs that you can make right at home. Stick around until the end of this video for a big reveal of our first major project. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and visit the woodshopnerd.com for your free DIY tricks or treats. This project started with a little inspiration from my new favorite online haunt, Facebook Marketplace. I started by giving the headboard a base coat of gray paint. I wasn't sure what the end product would look like when I first got started, but as the paint dried, a vision started to form. With the base dry, I pulled out one of my favorite tricks from my theater days, projection sketching. Using a projector, I trace out bold lettering in my favorite Gothic font, the same way I used to design large set pieces for shows like Frozen, Shrek, or The Addams Family. This gave me excellent control of proportion and style. With the sketching complete, I cut out all the letters and placed them on the headboard. Once all the paper templates are complete, I start the process of tracing them on EVA foam. Each letter is trimmed and then carved. The challenge to this task is to not cut the letters at any sort of angle, because it will leave you with an uneven, beveled cut. With all the letters carved out of EVA foam, I turn to my knockoff Dremel tool and begin the sanding and texturing process. I decided at this point that my final sign would not look clean and polished, but have an antiquated age to it, so I was not too worried about, any kind of imperfections. As a matter of fact, I intentionally made each letter inconsistent and weather-worn. This process was the most tedious part of this entire project and the messiest, but I think it yielded the best results in the end. Once the letters were done, they needed to be spaced out on the board before gluing. Realizing that the words needed to be level, I reached for a snap line to help guide the letters. It's simply a braided cord, covered in chalk, that is stretched from one point to the next, creating a perfectly straight line. Held tight from point to point, the line is then snapped in the center, leaving a perfect chalk marking of that line. Like I said, simple and ingenious. When gluing EVA foam, contact cement works best, almost instantly, and holds up to weather. Don't try wood glue because it takes too long to dry and the foam tends to slide around in the process. And don't use hot glue because it burns through the foam. All the extra wooden features are now being added to give the sign a bit more character. I bought these pieces at the craft store for just a couple of bucks. Now, these do get wood glue, however, because, they're wood. Now comes my favorite part of the entire project, texture painting. My go-to painting technique for this type of piece is dry brushing along the edges. Now, dry brushing is exactly what it sounds like. The paintbrush is loaded with the least amount of paint possible, hence the name dry brush. Then the paint is added in feathered strokes, starting at the edges of the surface and fading towards the center. I always use chip brushes for this technique because of their inconsistent bristles. It gives it a more organic effect. The wooden details are also dry brushed, but in this case, I use a dark black to offset the gray background. It will also provide some depth when I add the top color eventually. A stippled coat of gold is applied while the black is still wet. This allows both of the colors to melt into each other a little bit, and it gives it that organic look of antiquated Victorian metal. Full coverage and perfection are not needed here, so thank goodness I could just go as I pleased. While I was working on the wooden details, I noticed this round edge on the frame, so I decided to mask it and add gold there too. While the gold dries, a soft sage green is applied in stippling in the corners and the crevices of the joints. This color works great with the gray and gives the otherwise flat headboard more texture and more aged character. Feeling the face of the board was still a little too empty, I bought some trim over at Lowe's to fill in some of that negative space. I decided that a simple frame around the wording would do the trick. Wood glue for the wood trim and a few nails of the edges to keep them from sliding around on the board. I decided that this trim should mirror the top of the sign, so I stippled in black and painted it over in gold as well. Stippling black over the gold not only gave the illusion of age, but it also masked all the imperfections from my painting technique. Feeling that the sign needed, again, more texture, green stipples were added in the corner and under the lettering. A last-minute detail came to mind while I was working on a different project, actually. Wood glue was applied to the bottom of the letters and the corner of the board so that moss could be glued into place. There is nothing that I love more in set design than adding organic materials to provide for a more authentic texture. I have used real branches, trees, leaves, hay, snow, all sorts of mediums in set design. To ensure stability out in the yard, I drilled in 2 holes in the posts and screwed in large hooks to support the rebar that would be hammered into the ground. Now, dressing the set is so much fun. That's when you can really let all of the details shine. I added 2 very full corn stalks and tied them with twine. I love twine. I have spools of twine all over the house and I use it on everything. How cute are these little hay bales? And there you go, a front yard sign that will have everyone stopping by your house on Halloween night. I love this project so much. It really turned out better than what I had expected. The textures, the colors, the lettering, it all gives me the good spooky feels, you know? Crazy to think that this started off as a bed in someone's garage. All the Sleepy Hollow sign needs now is a pumpkin scarecrow to go with it. I think that just might be my next project. So maybe you should visit me again because you certainly don't want to miss how this little vignette turns out. This is not the end of our spooky saga because every good Halloween tale needs a sequel. And next time, we're going to be heading into some haunted woods to build something straight out of Sleepy Hollow. Before you escape, let me know what your favorite Halloween movie is and how you nerd out on this spooktacular holiday. So with that, make sure you subscribe, like, and visit thewoodshopnerd.com to grab your free DIY tool checklist. And until next time, stay spooky, my friends.